So, Star Wars' latest addition to their tumultuous slate of TV spin-offs has now come to a close. Skeleton Crew, which follows a group of kids lost in the galaxy on a mysterious spaceship, aided by the even more mysterious Jod, just released its final episode. Except, not many people watched it. It's no secret that this show did not do very well. I have seen next to no buzz surrounding the show, and its premiere even failed to chart on the Nielsen Top 10 streaming charts, making it the least viewed Disney Star Wars show of all time. Simply put, not many people watched this show. After the controversy from the poorly received Acolyte, there's no denying that it seems to have soured a lot of people on Star Wars shows as a whole. And honestly, it's a crying shame because this show was a lot of fun. I mean, it's not gonna blow anybody's mind, but to me, it was a very nice palate cleanser after the Acolyte's dull run of episodes. This show just oozes style and charm. It felt so evocative of those 80s adventure movies like E.T. and The Goonies. A likable group of kids who go on a harrowing adventure in an unknown place is perfect when put into the lens of Star Wars. This show is so true to its style, which creates a story that fits perfectly into this universe while also feeling distinct. It makes me feel nostalgic for an era that I wasn't even alive for. I mean, even the theme song and opening logo feels like it was plucked straight out of an Amblin movie. And this similarity wasn't an accident. John Watts and Christopher Ford were very open about how these movies shaped their childhood and how they wanted to emulate that. You could really feel the passion that was put into the series and how committed these two were to the tone they wanted to set. So let's talk about why Skeleton Crew worked so well for me, and why, in my opinion, the people who didn't watch this show missed out on a fun and harmless Star Wars story. The first thing that stuck out to me while watching this is honestly the one place where I had low expectations. The performances. Now, first and foremost, it goes without saying that Jude Law is reliably excellent as Jod, but I knew that he would be. He plays him with so much charisma and charm, and I like how he teeters on the edge of whether or not you can trust him, and I was not expecting the show to have the balls to make him a villain and have him stay that way. I also like how they made him kind of a loser. It makes his eventual rise to power within his old crew satisfying to see, even though we're not exactly rooting for him. But what really surprised me about this series is how good the performances from all of the kids are. Each one has interesting traits that play off each other well, and I'm a fan of their chemistry as a group as well as with Jod. It also helps that each character is written pretty well too. We have Wim, whose sort of ignorant optimism and curiosity makes him the perfect character to focus on in the beginning. We have Fern. I can't with these names, man. Who takes charge during a lot of moments in the show, and I think they struck the right balance of making her pretty brave without it seeming too unrealistic. And then there's KB, whose development I was probably the most interested in out of the four, just because it was relatively subtle by comparison. I especially like that scene where she's coaching Wim through fixing her implant, and I think it shows a lot about who she is as a character. And finally, we have Neel.
So there's no combat on this Atetin?
No, but we do play this one game called Slapball. You know, like the...
No notes. This is the best Star Wars character of 2024. I'm not even joking. But yeah, between the good performances and the solid character writing, it makes for a really fun group with some engaging dynamics. The fact that we have a show where 4 out of the 5 characters are children, none of them are annoying, and all of the performances are good is honestly remarkable. I'm also a big fan of the pirate robot, who's voiced by frickin' Nick Frost from Shaun of the Dead.
What about Atten?
Oh. Your favourite monkey? Shall I do Clyde?
Another thing about this show that caught me off guard is that it's actually kind of funny. Like, there were a good amount of moments here and there that got a bit of a chuckle out of me.
All the power relays are routed through the supervisor's tower.
Can you turn them on?
Son, you are talking to a level 7 systems coordinator. Get the bike.
The writing as a whole is pretty sharp too. I love the way the overarching mystery of the show is portrayed. Showing the kids living on their seemingly normal planet and then slowly finding out that it's a long-lost fabled goldmine of treasure is such a cool way to reveal the information to the audience. It also helps to keep the tension up because the kids' situations seem so hopeless as they find out how unknown Ad-Adden is. There's also this sort of theme going on in the background with the kids' parents about governmental control and the idea of compliance versus questioning authority, which I was just not expecting at all, but I think it's an interesting addition to the story. I'm a big fan of the way the show is structured too. Each episode acts like one step in a sort of treasure hunt, with every new one bringing a unique environment and set of characters. And even though each episode moves things along at a good pace, I also like how the series takes the time to just sit back and let you soak in the atmosphere of each location, which are almost always accompanied by some really nice visuals. Like, this is probably the first Star Wars show since maybe Andor where I actually felt impressed by the cinematography. On top of that, everything about the Onyx Cinder is just so awesome. I love how it was hidden because it was basically grown into the planet, and then the way that it can like shed its hull to reveal a smaller version of itself, it's just so raw. And just look at that design, man. So good. I'm real easy when it comes to Star Wars. You give me a cool ship and some likable, unique characters, and I will have a great time. And then I'll make a series of poor financial decisions by buying the Lego set from it.
What more do you want from me?
I will say, however, that I feel like the finale did not 100% live up to the high stakes that were set up before it. Like, don't get me wrong, it was definitely action-packed, but there were a few moments where I had some trouble suspending my disbelief, and there are some things that happened that just straight up should not have worked.
Not the other crystal founders that we discovered carved by an ancient warrior way up in the northern mountains. I'm just giving you a chance.
I also would have liked to see Jod's control of the planet explored a little bit more, but I get that the writers felt that they needed to wrap the story up neatly in the event that it's not renewed for a second season. But you want to know the best thing about this show? The number one reason why I had so much fun with it? There is not a single character from any other Star Wars project except for the battle droid, a dude from the same species as this guy, and the circus hologram from the holiday special. No, I am not joking. Like, don't get me wrong, it's nice to see characters that you know and love showing up in a new story, but it just gets kind of tiresome after a while. I think Disney saw everyone's positive reaction to Luke showing up in Mando Season 2, so they thought that they needed to throw every character under the sun into all of their projects to get people to watch it. But after a while, it becomes less and less special because you're expecting it every time. You're expecting Mando to show up and save the day, or Ahsoka to come in and beat the main villain, or creepy robot Luke to help out.
Brother, what's that?
Take that one episode from the Book of Boba Fett, for example. Look at this insane lineup of characters that show up in the span of 47 minutes. Boba Fett, The Mandalorian, Grogu, Cobb Vanth, Ahsoka, Cad Bane, R2-D2, and Luke Skywalker. And the episode itself is honestly fantastic, but it just doesn't feel earned. It's placed right in the middle of this very boring and mediocre story about crime boss Boba. It feels like they put this kind of episode in because they knew it would make people go, yay, and then make their stupid reaction videos for it. The reveal of Luke worked so well in Mando Season 2 because A, we didn't see it coming, and B, it felt like the show naturally built up to that moment. And honestly, with the positive reception to Skeleton Crew and Andor, two shows that mostly feature entirely new characters, I was hoping that Disney would kind of learn their lesson, but given the recent news surrounding the Mandalorian movie, that does not seem to be the case.
How do you like your little buddy now? Still cute?
You know, he's reminding me of you more and more.
Why are you fucking with me? Why are you fucking with me? Why are you fucking with me, huh?
I feel like I kind of got off track here. But anyway, overall, this show was just a good time. It's simple, but its simplicity is what makes it effective. It's not trying to set up a huge galaxy-changing war or throw 10,000 cameos at you. It's just trying to be a cute, short and sweet story about some kids running from pirates and trying to get home. And I think that's perfectly fine. Sadly, however, I'm not thinking a season 2 is super likely for this series. It sucks that the show did so poorly as far as ratings go, because I would be perfectly content to spend more time with these characters and this world. I've tried to recommend this show to as many Star Wars fans as I could, because it really is just an enjoyable watch. It's not gonna knock anyone's socks off, but the charming characters and unique setting make this a perfectly enjoyable and harmless Star Wars story. And Lord knows, we've been starving for something like that for a long, long time. With all that said, I'm gonna give Skeleton Crew a 7.5 out of 10. Now we just have to wait for Andor Season 2. It's gonna be so peak, bro. I'm actually so hyped. I need it now.